Hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome down to the Nook. Welcome to Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas and the end of Sons of Vancouver Advent. I've got 2 days to catch up with here. I've got the 23rd and the 24th. And you're probably saying, he didn't open the 22nd. Actually, I did during a live with Dolph, president of the Alberta Scotch Society. And it was a repeat candy cane. So I didn't do any tasting notes on it. So today, we're going to finish this calendar, and there's a third up here because I've heard what probably is going to be in the last one, and I'd like to do a bit of comparison. So if you have any Sons of Vancouver Rise or single malts when you pour a bit, come on back and we'll finish this calendar. 3, 4. Okay, I hope you got a little whiskey in your glass. It is Christmas after all, and we'll dive in. So on the 23rd, let's see what we're going to pull up. Barrel-aged old-fashioned. Well, I like old-fashions. This is released at 45%, so we'll see what their interpretation of mixing up a classic old-fashioned, but then putting it back in a barrel. I wonder, I would have asked Jenna and James, because they were great at sharing information on our live together. You know, what barrel, how long, those kinds of things. Here, we're just going to nose and taste what their interpretation of a barrel-aged old-fashioned is. Classic old-fashioned. I've got cherry, or nope, I take that back. I've got orange. I thought, oh yeah, there's no, that's maybe some of the, well, it's fruity. Definitely orange though. On the second nose, it's all orange for me. Whether there is a rimmed orange peel in there or not, I don't know. Just try it on the palate. Cheers. Okay, I'm getting a lot of good orange in that, some nice bit of spicy whiskey in there. I feel like it's a rye. Coat's nice. It's pretty sweet. Lots and lots and lots of that citrus orange. But there is a sweetness that also makes me go into fruit. There probably isn't any cherry, but I'm getting cherry and orange and a little bit of spicy rye. If they didn't make it with rye, it's just my impression. All right, the last one. The whole calendar. 24 bottles later. You know, I just have to say thank you to Sons of Vancouver. They sent this out as a gift, and I have had nothing but fun opening it up with you guys, seeing what's in here. Now, this one was spoiled for me because of the live. It is a single malt. Now, this single malt is released at 57.5. 57.5. And I did hear a little something on here, and now that I'm remembering it, it might cloud or give me an impression, but apparently they put this after, oh, I don't even know how they usually finished it. Not finished it, aged it. Were they doing ex-bourbon? Probably. But they did put it for some time in a barrel that was smoked. So not, you know, toasted or scraped and charred, like I'm sure it was charred and prepped for bourbon. That one I think was ex-bourbon, but then it was smoked. I don't know if that's like put in a smoker or burnt some smoke chips in it or something, but the barrel itself was smoked. So a single malt from Sons of Vancouver, 57.5%. Let's see what we got. You know, it's not overwhelming in any one direction. It's a little bit sweet. It's got some nice malt notes. Yeah, I'd say right now I'm not getting that smoke. It's just more of a nice, not quite as fruity as a Space Side. It's sort of a Highland style for me. I know I'm comparing it to Scotch. It's not a Scotch in any way, but it's all barley, aged at least 3 years and then finished in at least the smoke barrel. I'll probably get a few more characteristics on the nose once I've tried it on the palate. So, cheers. You know, I made mention, I'm going to move this calendar back so we just have a little more room here. I made mention on the Thursday Live with Jenna and James that I find while their single malts are young, they're not that grainy or are husky or nutty, like overly so. Although I'm getting that in this. I'm getting young malt characteristic in this. Quite a bit. Try once more, see if I'm getting any more of that smoke. Dolph said think apricot, and I will say the fruit on the nose is something like that dried fruit. I don't know if I'm getting apricot, but a dried candied fruit of some kind. Not very fresh. Let's try it on the palate. It's nice. Nice young malt. And for 57.5%, I will say it's actually very pleasing on the palate, coating nicely. Let's just pour that out. So what I'm comparing with here is the Rum Barrel single malt. So this is in essence the same single malt, released a little lighter, 54.5 versus 57.5. But I want to see how treating it in Rum Barrel will have a difference on the palate. You know, for me, in comparison, this is lighter. I find it sweeter. I know Dolph doesn't, but I find it sweeter, and I do find that nutty grain characteristic quite strong on the nose coming back. This is definitely sweeter for me, lighter fruits on the palate. I know finishing is fairly controversial, and actually rum finishing for me can be even more so. For me, this adds some oaking backbone, some oak structure. The rum comes for me far in the finish. Like I don't even really get much of that sugary sweet rum until kind of near the end, and then it starts becoming part of the conversation. In this, I'm preferring the Rum Barrel finish. I really like it. This single malt is a great single malt. It's nice. It's got lots of character. It's very coating on the mouth, like pleasing in the palate. Doesn't have a lot of that oak structure, which doesn't need to. I mean, single malts often don't because they're usually older and they're in older casks that have sat around for a while, so they don't have that a little more aggressive oak. I won't say aggressive, but there is definitely some newer oak structure in this one. I'll try this once more. So last thoughts on their single malt. That actually has some nice sweet notes to it. I could see why Dolph was getting it maybe even sweeter, like with apricot, but that is actually very nice in the palate. And maybe it'll evolve a bit when I put a bit of water on it and see what other secondary flavors are going. This has been a fantastic lead into Christmas. It's Christmas Eve for me here. I had a moment to shoot this because parts of the family are running errands, other parts are wrapping gifts that I can't be a part of. So I thought, you know what, I'll just take a moment and share some time with you. Finish this calendar, say thanks again to James, Jenna, and Max, and to all of Sons of Vancouver for sending this my way. I hope you and your family and your friends, or if it's just you, do find some time in the next couple of days to relax, to seek different ways to understand how we're blessed. I know many of you must be in some hardship right now, and I wish that to end and for good times to come. But I hope that you have a little bit of good whiskey, even better, some good whiskey from Sons of Vancouver. I know that sounds like I'm pushing it. I'm not. They're good people making good whiskey. I hope you try it sometime. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you probably before the new year. Take care.